Hello everyone, podcast 442 today. We are in English. We are still together with Mario. Hi Mario.
Hey ho.
And together we have a special guest, a person who I think has never given any big interviews for Estonian media. Is it right?
Yeah, true.
Victor, what is your full name?
Victor Manuel Gomes Da Silva.
Victor Manuel Gomes Da Silva.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But you are here not because of your tremendous name, but because you are Harju JK head coach.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So how are you? Well, let's start from a very simple question. How do you feel? How is your expectations and feelings before the start of the season?
No, I feel great. I think we are doing our preparation. We start long ago, even when the season was on, 2022. We were already discussing the chances of being a Premier League club. And we start immediately the work. Of course, the sports director more connected with everything. In my case, more connected with the team and with the daily job. So far, the weeks we have been working, it has been very good from the players. The attitude is there. The hard work is incredible from the guys. And they know that when we say that, we mean it. We know that they are feeling the pre-season, but as we say, if we want to go from non-professional league, which is AZ League A, to professional league, we need to have a transformation. And the transformation means not just for the players, for the club, for the coaches, and we all need to know that we need to put much more work to be ready for the challenge, because we know it's a big challenge. We want to face it, but for that we need to work, and it's not to work when the season starts, it's now, and it's what we are doing.
So in this podcast, it's I know that one of your colleagues who worked, and also coach from Portugal last year had a very long monologue. In this episode, we might ask you between the text. I have already one question to you. What changed starting from compared to previous year and to this year? You said everyone has had to change.
First of all, we will not have the best team to dominate the games. So immediately for us is the question is how we are prepared to play against a team that probably will dominate us, and we need to be ready.
Oh, you need to be ready for all 36 games before that.
Yeah, but let's say last year we knew more or less most of the games we'll have the ball, we play offensive half, we lose the ball, we press, we get the ball, we attack again. So we were talking about defensive moment for 5 seconds, sometimes 2 seconds, sometimes 10, 15. This season maybe there will be games that the opponent is pushing us down, we are trying to get out, we are trying to press, we cannot, and maybe we need to be there in this position for a minute. And this changed the picture, the way you approach the training, the way you approach the players, the way the players think the game. Because as we say, for example, for our wingers, they were thinking I attack and then I defend. And many times this season is I defend and then I attack. It looks the same, but in terms of how you approach the game and how ready you are for the game, it's a little bit different. We will not change our identity, that we go from be dominant, start on the keeper, try to arrive opponent goal as fast as possible with the ball control, to park the bus and kick the ball and run. We will not do that, but we know that we need to be prepared for different moments of the game that maybe last season and 2 seasons ago we were not so prepared in that way, because we were more focused in play with the ball, be dominant, play against teams that defend low with 10 players, what is the space, what is this and that, and sometimes in some games this season will be different, and our communication to the players and the approach from the players needs to be different.
And how
different, but not that we change totally our identity.
And how the players are taking this approach? Are they happy with this? How easily are they taking
I hope they are happy. At least the feedback has been positive. Of course, they understand, even from us coaches, that we are much more demanding, and what before was great now is not anymore, because we just need to raise the standards for everyone, and is what we are doing. And sometimes, this adaptation phase is, I have been doing this for 2 years and everything was all right, and now it's not. What's going on? It maybe creates some doubts on the players, but we told them since the beginning that we are here to support, but we need to raise the level of everything. The same for the coaching staff. What before was, let's say, a good flow in the training, now is not anymore. We need to increase our level in terms of training, in terms of flow, in terms of intensity, in terms of dynamic, that we are ready for a different level, because we are not anymore in AZ League or AZ League B. We are not anymore competing against 80% of the teams who are youth teams. We are competing against the best teams of the country, players who play European competitions, and the standards are totally different, and we just need to adapt.
But about the players, Harju has used a lot of new players during the pre-season games. How difficult is to build up the team for Premium Liiga to be competitive?
This has been one of our challenge now in the pre-season, because when we get the team stable, what is the old routines we had in the previous 2 seasons, the flow of the game goes like clear, everyone knows what to do. When we start mixing, and we are doing it intentional, to check everyone, we are still like watching some trial players. We understand that our dynamics are not so clear, but we know that we still have 4 weeks to go, and this is the work we need to put to organize the team and get the picture clear to everyone, that everyone knows what to do when we have the ball and what to do when we don't have the ball. This needs to be clear. It was last season and needs to be this season. We don't know if we can make the 1-against-1, take the perfect cross, or make the perfect finish. It's about like the action. But in terms of understanding like what the game requires and what we need to do as a team, we need to be the top in terms of organization. Our players need to understand. Maybe it doesn't work. I try to play the pass or this or that, and it didn't work. But as a team, we need to play as one, like intentional. And this we need to put the work in the training sessions, that we know without any doubt what we have to do. Then the thing is, can we perform it or not is another question. But we need to be organized on the field with and without the ball, that everyone is clear with intention.
So how much new players do I think you had like a couple of new players by now? Any news like signings? How do you feel? Are you going to pick another one, or right now you are happy with the squad?
I can answer in a very practical way. Is the squad still open and will be open until the last day? Because as a professional club, you cannot say that squad is closed. Sometimes in the last minute you get good opportunities, or the players that we have get also good opportunities, and we need to be open for it. But our intention is not to change dramatic from one to another, that we didn't want to cut 60 or 70% of the players and bring all the professional players inside of the club. That was not our intention, because the identity that we want to create, or we are creating inside of Harju, is that we are a club, not just first team. We are a club, and to be a club, you need to have everyone thinking more or less in the same page. And it's not easy for us to find players who come in and they, let's say, put our shirt on in full meaning. This means to understand the culture of the club, to understand the dynamic of the coaching staff, to understand what is the role that older players have with the younger ones. And all this cooperation requires time. And we have players who have been with us doing this job for 2 years, some for 3, some for 4. And I think it's not fair for them, and it's not good for us that we just, okay, it was good, see you soon, we'll get 10 or 15 new players, and that's it. Even if in a short term, maybe to play the first game, the second game, the third game, maybe could be better because they are more ready, but we are not thinking about the first game, we are thinking about the 36 games, and we need just to, let's say, help the guys to compete at the highest level.
So, look into my honest eyes,
yes,
and answer me. How realistic is it for you to stay in the Premium Liiga next season?
If it was not realistic, we will not be there. This is 100% sure. We go there to compete. I don't know how many points we will collect, and the message for the guys is, whatever is the opponent we have, and we know that play against Flora, that is the champions, is different than play another teams, we go to get points. We will not go for a game and say, please, let's lose for 1-0, and we'll be definitely not. I will not sign the paper, and if some player will sign that paper, will not play. This is clear for us. If we will get the points or not is another question. But in terms of character, we need to go to get the points.
I understand it's not a strategy if you will not keep the place, as I understand, because from what you said, that's why you don't change 100% the team, you continue the same. It will be fine if you get relegated, right?
No.
No?
We don't change the team because we believe with the players we have, we are more prepared to get enough points to stay in the league. Not the opposite. We will not use that card that we say, yeah, we didn't change the squad, so we were not prepared. We go back to SE League and that's good. No. This is not our identity.
But
This
what
is not
will
our
happen?
way of being on sports.
But
what is the point to go to Premier League?
What will
just to-
happen if it will not go your direction? I mean, like if you will finish 10th.
Then in summer we need to react.
Okay. I
That's
think
how-
that
that's-
answers my
That's how
question.
it was.
But you said Harju has a lot of youth potential. Would you like to bring out some names who Estonian football fans can maybe see this year,
Yeah,
take
but-
some step forwards, and maybe in the future is maybe list of the national team?
I think first we need to talk immediately about two players that are not with us. Karel Musta, who signed for Benfica, and Imbra, who signed for Venezia in Italy. There's two players that if they will be with us, it will be like very good additions for our squad as they have the
Good
quality.
KTMs.
Yes, we have good KTMs that we have also through. Then inside of our squad currently, we have Karelen, who has been like playing and is also connected with the national team. We have Kasper Homosar, who has been away from Estonia, but now is back and is back to stay and to work with us and to have, let's say, this long-term process that can help him to be a fully football player. And I think are two good examples of keep working in the long term, solving their issues here and there about like the game to get better and to be prepared. And now for them comes, for all of us, but also for them comes the challenge. It's like, let's say in SE League, many games was against their peers, so the same age, more or less, 1 year older, 1 year younger. But now in the Premier League comes a different context. Comes the players that they are watching on TV for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and now they need to compete against them. And the first step they need to take for our young guys is the character, the personality to say, I don't know if I can beat or not, but I will do my best to do. Not like that I keep these 2 meters distance respect because they were on TV and I'm not. And this is like a big thing. And this is a big step that everyone inside of the club needs to take. That now we are Premier League club. We are not anymore the guys who were there or were like dreaming to be there. We are there and we need to put also, let's say, the clothing that we are there and we have some responsibility to make it and to make it well. And this requires character and personality from the players. But these 2 examples of young players who can come through. We have also Christian Križ, which is 2005, is also connected with the national team, and is also a very good player, and we believe that they need time. We are not saying that they will have like immediately impact, that everyone will be, wow, where were these players? But we truly believe on them, and we want to, and we are building the squad, consider them, so that they can have the game time to play and to help us. And in the pre-season, they've been playing, and we don't have any doubt that they can perform. The question is also the mental side, how they can perform.
What's more important for you, giving time for a young player so he can develop, or results? You know, if you feel like with like player A who is already experienced can give you a result now, but if you sacrifice result in one game and give this experience and working playing time to a young player, what is more important?
For us, important this season is we need to collect the points to stay in the league. This is clear because
So young players will not get
no,
their
I'm not
chances that
saying
easily.
that. I'm saying that we need to collect the points. What they need to understand is they need to work every day to be ready to be part of the team and to have the tools to help us to collect the points. We also don't believe that we should give the chance. It's not the case because they totally deserve the chance. But let's say if we have a player that is not ready for Premier League, why that player should play? Because we can say, yeah, it's a younger player, and we raise the flag of youth, but we know it's fake. It's not fair. It's not fair for anyone. It's not fair for the club. It's not fair for the player that we are creating expectations that are not correct. And it's not fair for the family that are, let's say, dreaming about something that will never happen. Other thing is the case of Christian Križ, Karel, Kasper Homosar, that we truly believe that they can be professional players. And we will be there to support and give them the time that they need to perform, not to say now go and survive. If you don't survive, I wash my hands because I gave you the opportunity and now it's not. Now this is the easy way to do, but this is not the way we will do it because we need to collect points and we need to protect and we need to help. And help sometimes is today you will sit here with me because your week was not good enough in terms of training. And sometimes it's the opposite. It's like go and play because you are doing great and we are very happy to see you on the field. And then it's the answer, week by week, train by train.
I think I have only one question about this season. Do you have anything from your end?
You can ask.
The question is, when we started talking, you mentioned previous year when you and let's say directors of the club, right? They discussed the possibility to come up to Premier Liiga. When did you start? When you were involved in these discussions, what time? Was it straight after the season, or you already during the season?
During the season, we were already we also talked with our players. Say okay, there has been some talks with the FA in terms of okay, what is the future? As it was also with Elva, and there is that option that we can take the spot to go, but we don't want to go and get 20 new players. So we need to understand also what you guys, the players, are thinking. And the feedback from the players was, why not? Let's make it. I think we have a good group of players. We have been working already quite long time. If we think about football, 2 years together is not a short time in football. And we like to be here. We understand the project. We understand the target of the club, and we are on board. And from there, it was before the season finished.
When
we
was
start working
when was the final decision on that?
I think the final decision was when, let's say, the club itself had let's say, the
when
final
you
meetings.
won the league, or
No, in that moment we were already focused that we just make sense to go to Premier League if we won the league.
Okay,
if we win the
okay.
league.
So
And
you
that
knew
was-
already before that
Yeah.
if you win, you will go there. Right?
In that moment is if we win, we will try to go because then it comes, let's say, the club structure and organization with the football federation to understand if it's possible to go or not. But from, let's say, staff and players was clear if we have the chance and everything goes according to the plan, we will take the step to, let's say, to transform ourselves to play at highest level of Estonia.
But how big your staff are?
You mean coaching staff?
Coaching assistant coaches, goalkeeper coach, and so on.
Right now we have a goalkeeper coach, Sten, physio, Anna, then me and Lauri coaching, we are coaches, more team coaches, not goalkeeper or physio. And we have also Eric Listman, who will be the fitness coach. Right now he's doing the job in a different way, but he's doing the job. And the thing why we decide first to increase the staff, which for the club means also more spending, is we want to work as a professional club and we want to put attention for the players and to work with the players in a, let's say, short but also in a long term. This transformation that we talk a lot inside of our squad is in that direction also, that we start already thinking about 2006, 2007, 2008, what they need to do to be ready for Premier League level, because we believe we will stay in the league, and means for the future we need to have new young players coming in inside of the system, and for that, for example, for Eric Liesman, it's important that he understands the level of Premier League player, and then he can bring it down for under 21, work with young guys, but being connected also with our staff, plus the quality. And this for us is also important, and that's why we are, let's say, waiting a little bit that he's coming back, because for us it's a big help.
How, I still have one question. How those trialists, how they come to you? Are they approaching yourself, or you have of course you don't have scouting department, but how you connect with those players? I mean,
it's about network, a network with the sports director, network with me, and that we know people that knows us, and we have also, let's say, some players who contact direct, but we also have some agents who contact because they understand this perspective that we have, and there is some players who like to come and take the opportunity to play first division in Estonia and be in a club that is putting the message that we want to play, not just to go to the games and survive. And I think when you have a young player with talent, this is a good environment to be, not park the bus and let's see what happens.
Great. I think we can very strictly change the direction of this talk, and then we'll come back to Estonia a little later. But first of all, you're a foreigner in Estonia, and you're a quite young man. I think he's younger than me, so you're already a coach. Well, you're already a coach in the top division. So how did you come up to be a coach? How did you, I don't know, got into football in the first place?
I think it's very connected from the place where I come from, Portugal, where the football culture is like very strong.
There's only one fact about you in internet, that you have born not in Portugal but in Switzerland, right?
Yes, that's our national team coach.
Sorry?
As the national team coach.
Yeah, okay. So how, I don't know, starting from Switzerland, how did you end up in Portugal eventually?
Yeah, no, my parents were working in Switzerland for a period of their lives, and then they were back to Portugal, and I moved to Portugal when I was young, and that's why, like for me, I'm Portuguese, because I have been there like my entire life, despite I was born in Switzerland, where I still have family. But as very young, I was in Portugal. I just have memories from Portugal, not from Switzerland.
All right.
So,
and then you started like a small kid going to football, right?
Yeah, like any other kid in
Portugal.
we breathe and we love football. It's like a culture thing. And I was playing until under 19, so in my local club.
What's the club? What's the region?
Associação Desportiva São Joanense is a club from, right now is in third division, the first team.
Okay.
And I remember at that time was also this Mourinho phenomenon that I think has a big impact in many coaches in Portugal. We say nowadays in Portugal there is many people who prefer to be a football coach, not football player, and Mourinho has a big impact on that. And I think for a positive side, I got that wave as well, because at that time under 19 I was already like focused to be a coach. One was my quality as a football player was not the highest, so I knew that my football career will not take longer.
But still, you are good enough for Estonian third league. It's fine.
I scored, yeah. So I say to my friends, I'm an international player. I have scored in Portugal and I have scored abroad. So doesn't matter the level.
So from 19 years old, you already started to think that you might be a coach, right?
I remember that when I went to the university the first year, so I was like 20, I was already like coaching as assistant coach under 12, under 13. But my thinking was already like I want to be a coach, and all my life decisions went in that direction. I want to be a coach, and from there I need to start deciding. And one example of it was when I go to the university to study physical education, I end up in a place or in a university that was more focused in education, not so much in sports. And I did the first year, and then I changed university where I could have this, let's say, football background, more like clear and more connected with the teachers who were connected with football. If I wasn't with the intention to be a coach, I would never take that decision, because I was in a very nice town to study, Coimbra. I don't know if you know about it, but it's one of the best towns to be a student. But I decided, no, I want to be a coach, I need to change, and from there I start like building the, let's say, the path to become a football coach.
What was your first job as a coach, as a football coach?
Then when I went to the university, I started as assistant coach, then I moved to Porto football school, where I was a coach also for 4 years.
You mean like Porto, this big Porto, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Basically, it's like Porto club. They have like the soccer school where they are in different like places, and I was in charge of one school. I start as a intern. First year, second year I become like a coach full time, and the last 2 years I'm the youth coordinator of that soccer school until I decide, okay, it's end of cycle, let's try to open different doors, because it was a very stable like job, but at the same time I felt I was in the comfort zone, and if I wanted to go for performance sport, then I had to take different steps. That was
Did you go straight out of Portugal, or you?
Yeah,
changed?
at that moment we were thinking like about moving abroad, and it comes. The main question was, okay, I was already like studying English, because in Portugal we are not so good as you guys are here with English.
No, we are perfect here.
Even I make a joke like with the players that I don't know if I use my English from Oxford or from Cambridge, but it's my English how it is. I know it's not perfect, but I'm still trying to improve it. But at that time I was studying Portugal, and then it comes the opportunity to go to England to improve the language and to connect with the local football there, with the hope to find, not the American dream, but the English dream, that we go to England, we find a club, and everything comes like perfect.
Like a football manager.
Yeah, we had some connections there, and we were like mainly like focused on get our language skill better, and then after 8-10 months, we got a call to go to China, where there was a project of Luis Figo, the football school as well, the same what I was doing in Portugal, with the project director connected with professional football. So at that time in China was a big thing, and my friend and I, we say, okay, let's go.
So how many years you were in China?
3.
3 years in China.
Yeah.
And how was the life, football life in China? Yeah.
At that time was very popular football. I think it's still very popular, but with, let's say, much less investment right now, according to the situation there. At that moment, and when I was there, because I have been here for 4 years and a half, so we are talking about 7 years and a half ago, when I moved to China, was the boom that all the players and coaches.
They bought big stars during that time, I think, yeah.
Loads of money, and they were really like pushing and investing, and like we want to be. And through Figo image, they were trying to build like a national project that they had soccer schools everywhere in the country. And then, you feel after a while that the project has some limitations, and you are starting the new project in a different town, and you start again and again the same thing, and you don't grow in that way. And then Harju at that time had a Portuguese coach here, that right now is a fitness coach in first division in Portugal. And he called me and said, like, I'm leaving, I'm moving back to Portugal. I know you want like to be more connected with performance. What do you think about Estonian? And to be honest, at that time I didn't know that much about Estonia, but I remember I told him like, if you are there and you are telling like good things about the club and about, like, let's say, the competition and to be with young players who want to be football players, I think this is something I would like to take. After a few weeks, I was landing here. Perfect summer, Sunday.
You are the fourth Portuguese coach in Harju, if I'm right.
Yes.
Is it a coincidence or something related with Harju identity? That they need Portugal coach?
I would say that the Portuguese coaches who have been in the club, maybe they are doing a good job, that the club wants to keep the Portuguese coach. I don't know exactly if tomorrow, if I leave the club, it will come a Portuguese coach or will come, because I think good coaches are everywhere. They don't have, it's not Portuguese or Spanish or English or Estonian. There is good and bad coaching in any country in the world.
Just some countries have more bad coaches and some countries have more.
Okay, but you can pick good coaches from everywhere. So I would not say that
let's
it's
agree.
connected with the Portugal. I just think that through the network and what we put on as a coaches, maybe the club wanted to keep it, and in my case, I'm the longest here.
Longest Portuguese coach
Yes.
in Harju.
I remember when I came, I was thinking about short term, like, okay, I go 1 season and then let's see, because was more or less what the other coaches have been here, and okay. But then the things changes, and then we go third division to second.
But why you decided, you were like a youth coach and suddenly you decided to, like, I don't know, not decided, but suddenly you become a senior team coach, right? So how easy was that choice, or I don't know?
At that time was not easy, because let's say our first team at that moment was not like a team,
not a professional at all.
Yes, in that way, a very good group of guys that would like to play football. And I remember me and Kalmar at that time, we went to a player house with another group of guys, and we say, guys, we want to take first team and we want to change the environment, and we will not be able to change if you don't take the first step. And we explained to them like what was, like, let's say, our vision, more or less, how we could do and how we could do. And I say to them, like, okay, I will not change like all your routines, because I understand your background and why you are here. But at the same time, I want some compromise from you, that there is certain things that we need to put on. Otherwise, our young guys are coming here and we are talking about one thing, but then inside of the dressing room is another thing, and these two things don't match, and then I cannot make the job. No. And of course, the first year was difficult, and I think was the most difficult one, because it's going from...
You had to change their mentality,
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
And on that, they were really good, and today I'm still like very connected with some of them. And at that time, some of them were not so positive about the changes, because you just start putting rules and you need to do this and this. And when you play at that level just for fun, you have a different perspective of football. But they took well let's say the idea that they could help the young guys. And we say, like, we are not asked you to be the top example in terms of like crossing and shooting, but you can be in terms of running, in terms of attitude, in terms of respect the rules and put the rules in and spread the word to the young guys.
Who are the best role models in Harju dressing room?
I think it's the squad right now.
The whole squad.
Yeah, right now, for example...
You don't want to bring any names?
No, because it's true. Right now, we have, let's say, the rules from previous years. We didn't yet put clear with everyone, because we don't have the group closed and we don't feel that we need. And the dynamic of the group is working, and they are taking care. Let's say the older ones inside of the club are taking care of the new ones, and we don't need to worry about it. So at that time, it was a big problem, because let's say 5 o'clock was not 5 o'clock. And,
so it was more like Southern Europe, not East, Northern.
Without fines.
But
we could not find
It's like in Portugal.
You have been here. Yeah, you have been here for like 4 years. You said 4.5 years. Can you bring something very positive in Estonian football, like something which, I don't know, not amazed you maybe, but something that you really like?
I will say, let's say, I need always be careful with these questions, because we have the tendency to point out is the negative thing.
No,
I think one thing...
No, so that football union cannot blame us for being on the negative. We start from positive.
I think one good thing that you have here definitely is you as a young coach, you can be professional. In many other countries, Spain, Portugal, it's really hard to get the job full time, that you can dedicate all your day for football, if you are not recognized by the clubs the best on under 8s or under 10s or under 12s. So we are talking about much less positions than compared with Estonia. So I think, and I have said that to our coaches there, that it's like a big opportunity that they have, that we can invest time in education and get better, because in Portugal, some of the coaches who are working with youth, they have in the school or different jobs, and then in the end of the day, they go and they work with the clubs. So they have less time to prepare or to educate themselves. Of course, they have the culture that helps to be better coach, but I think this is a big thing that, let's say, the government and the Football Federation has here, and I think it's, for a small country as Estonia, I think it's a big plus.
Who do you follow some of the work here of some of the coaches? Who could you bring up like in a local, like from local coaches?
To be honest, I don't know like the work they do, and also because of the language, it's difficult for me to read.
But maybe even from like top clubs, who did you find like I don't know?
Maybe Flora or
Yeah.
You mean in youth or?
No, I mean in general in Estonia. Maybe rather like senior team.
I say, and I will talk from what
Yeah.
I know. I have been, let's say, working with Lauri Numa, which is a top coach. He's local, he's Estonian, he's top coach. Let's say, I say to him, and it's like my honest feeling that it's right now he's also playing the role of sports director, but he's connected with me, and I say like even if sometimes you cannot be 100% with me because sports director role sometimes takes you away from the let's say our daily work, I will not find anyone like you here. So I want you, even if it's not 100%. Then I was also to don't run away from your question because I pointed out.
I will come back. I just memorized that there are clubs who will fire you if you are sports director and helping head coach. But you probably don't know this story.
Mm-hmm. Probably not.
But
for me, it's very simple. I think in Estonia we need to be flexible and adapt. We don't have millions of people, millions of players. Also, the budgets are what they are. And I think in our club this is clear. I'm not the head coach only. I'm the head coach who, if needs to come here on the interview or set up the camera or help the player, I don't know, driving somewhere in the town to make the things.
Just for listeners, I set up the camera, not you. and actually, it might be out of focus as well, so it's fine.
But in Harju, it's clear that we don't have the budget to get everyone with one position. And from, let's say, head coach and sports director, we are giving the example to everyone. That's why we say to the players sometimes when the things are not perfect, I say, guys, yeah, we know this like this, but we are here to find solutions and to help each other. If not, it will not work. I would like also to have more 2 or 3 assistant coaches. You were saying we don't have the scout department. We don't have the scout department, but I need to do the scout. Sports director needs to do the scout. We don't have 3 fitness coaches. We have 1. He needs to, and we need to find a way to work. That's the only way. That's why I say I understand the picture. In Portugal, it's also very strange. If we think sports director or president or coach is doing different roles, but I think in Estonia we need to be flexible, knowing that every context or every club, every team has different demands. And it's not the same a club that got promoted to Premier League, it's not the same the club who fights to be a champion in terms of conditions and what they need to put as example for the society.
But still, let's come back to this previous question. You will play against 9 coaches next year. Mm-hmm. Do you know like who is, I don't know, who can you bring up, who will be the toughest opponent?
I think the toughest is the champions, is Flora coach.
So against Jürgen Henn will be the toughest.
Of course, I think we need to give all the credit to him and his coaching staff because they are the champions. I know if I will play against the previous Portuguese coach who are here, it will be very tough because strategic they will prepare the game. And also they will understand what I'm saying on the bench. Sometimes it's a plus. And then of course there is other coaches who have experience here for longer than me. So they, one thing is how to prepare the team, how to adapt to the league and everything. But there is certain things that comes also with experience that you understand that this player maybe is not the best player for certain teams, but for what we want is like the perfect guy, and this is also the learning that we need to put. And me as a coach is, as I say, it's not about if we will make mistakes, because this we will do definitely. And I say to the group, if we don't make mistakes, we are perfect, and if we are perfect, we will be, I don't know, in Barcelona, Real Madrid, Man United. We want to be
Real
there
Madrid
one
is
day.
not perfect anymore.
Yeah. But we need to put the work and learn fast. Learn fast and make the mistakes one time is okay. Second time is a problem. So we need to learn fast from the players, from the coach, and from all the staff that we have in the club.
Harju was known one of the top academies in Estonia, but if you compare it to your previous works like Liiga Academy, what's the main difference between them?
I think we cannot compare with Liiga Academy because Liiga Academy was more like a business project in China that they wanted to go everywhere. So it's a little bit like different. I think Harju is like a club. If I compare with
Portugal or something.
With the Portugal, of course, in terms of dimension, is different as it is the country. So we need always to take it in consideration. And I think Harju, it's like a club that is doing what I'm saying. It's like trying to find a way to work with the players, not with a team, because unfortunately we don't have in every team from the youth 25 top players who can be professionals, as we have in Portugal. But we have certain group of players that they have the potential to be professionals, and we are working with them in a different way. So it's difficult to compare with Portugal, but I think in that way the club was really smart in that approach. Not the approach of we need to have 25 good players and then we start working, but no, if we have 5, we work with the 5 plus the others, but with these 5 we can give a little bit extra attention that they are more motivated to make the things and they can do by themselves many of the stuff. Some other players, they want just to enjoy football, to be connected with football, and we know sometimes at the age of 12 you don't think about being a football player, you keep engaged inside of the process, and 2 years later or 3 years later you say, okay, I want to be a football player, and the club will take care of it the best way we can, knowing what is our limitation as a club and also, let's say, as a country. Because, for example, now the winter conditions are getting better, but we know that it's a problem that influences directly the performance of the teams. Also, the number of people that exist in a country and the number of the clubs doesn't allow the clubs to have 20 or 25 good players. And we know that the competition between the players is what makes the performance comes up. So, and with that we need to find other ways, and I think Harju in that way is working well with the players.
So, besides infrastructure, what would you change in Estonian football?
I think, let's say, now there is the indoor walls, which I think is, let's say, great, because allows the players to compete and play during the tough winter times that we have here.
That half of a year, which is tough.
Yeah. But I think, let's say, and I will start from the Premier League clubs, who I think they should set the standards. I think, for example, when we think about intensity of the game, one basic thing that increases the intensity of the game is the grass wet enough for the ball to have the speed, natural or artificial, or not. And right now, as far as I know, artificial grass, they never get water before the games. In Portugal, they get, the weather is different, it's much more hot, we get it. But if we want the game to be intense, the game needs to be fast. And to be fast, the main thing of the game is the ball. If the ball doesn't move fast, it's a problem. So I think these things are becoming more and more important as more the competition goes high. So that's why I'm talking about high level. It costs money, but probably doesn't cost as much as.
Are you going to water Lagri?
We would like to, if we have the conditions. These are other things. Do we have the conditions or not? Do we have the support to make it or not? But if the people don't understand that it's important, no one will support. But if clubs and football federations say, no, this is important, it's mandatory, then everyone will adapt to make it. And I think this is a good example that sometimes small things can have a big impact in the performance of the players, but also in the quality of the game, because everyone likes to see the fast games. So if you have let's say the grass in good conditions, artificial grass in good conditions, the game will be fast, the players need to adapt, and everything is like a little bit better. Because, it's easy for me to say, we would like to have like better stadiums, better grasses, but it's not realistic. But maybe to get the watering systems in the grass, or to make it like as a mandatory, maybe it's possible. I don't know. This is something that the clubs and the FA should answer.
Especially when there are some certain teams playing in July on the Sportland arena. That's the worst, I guess.
But you could play if you get the field in conditions that we have some speed.
Are you happy with the Lagri, this artificial pitch, or the Lagri stadium itself? Are you happy with this?
We are very happy. We have been winning a lot there.
But about the conditions, the pitch is not the best shape.
Of course, I will not lie to say that we are, let's say, super happy because we would like to have a special for the players because this is like players' feedback that our surface is like really hard for them to train every day. And let's say in the end of the day for our players it's like the most difficult because they need to train and play there. But these are the conditions we have, and we are not here to find like problems and say like our field and this, why we don't have this, why that. Yes, we don't have, but we do prefer to play there than play in Sportland Arena. This is clear because it's our home, our community. We have been winning games there. We truly believe that this field will help us to collect the points we need to stay in the league. But of course, everyone would like that the field special, and I'm not talking about what is for the football fans, how they look to the field, but the surface, how it is, that could get a little bit better. And I know from the club that there is some talks in that way to get it like better. How much better it will be, I don't know. We also say to the players, don't expect now that you will play in Camp Nou. Is what it is. We will try to get it better. It's our home, and I think the players, if they put aside the fact that they have more pain when they play there, they also prefer to play there because we have people. And football without people is not football. And in the end,
this we agree. This we agree here in this podcast. It's not arguable, I guess. How do you like to start in like early March when it's like minus degrees? Are you happy to start like that early?
Or general Estonian league system, what do you think about?
I think, to be honest, I think it's like this. First, the season is too long. If we think that we start beginning of January and we finish beginning of December, so for certain players means less than 1 month rest, which I think maybe physically is okay, but mentally is not. And I think the need of missing something is really important. And for example, this season, I think we were the last ones to start the season.
You mean like preparations?
Yes, we start 9 of January was the first day. And we decided to do that because we know that it's important for the players to rest in order to, let's say, have the long marathon of collecting points to stay in the league.
I love how you call it, marathon of collecting points.
And I think I understand the point that it's important because they are professional that they have enough games. I don't know honestly like how it could be done in a different way, but there is 2 principles that I think is really important that we should take in consideration. First, the training is really important in Estonian level because I think in general, even if we think about like for example the Flora, who have national team players, they are putting those players abroad, so they are selling players, so they are not keeping, they are sellers. So you need to develop the product.
Usually they're just loaning them out, but I understand.
Okay, but the same for us, so we don't get this player profile that is more or less done. We just need to keep improving the player and get the player better. This is more or less like our work. So for that you need time to train. So one thing that's really important is the stability of the calendar. This season, when we check the calendar, looks better. For example, the years before, okay, was COVID here and there, but there is weeks that we cannot train at all. And for example, giving an example of Portugal, until 4th division, 5th division, youth, all the games are on the same day, Saturday or Sunday. Then you have all week to prepare and you have the next game. Here, as you know, there is games Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
especially
Friday.
in the AC Liiga, there's Monday, Thursday, and Sunday.
And if you think about AC League, for me it's even more critical to have this stability because 80% of the players are under 19. So they are the ones that really need the time to train. And when we talk about being explosive, example, this requires resting time. If I play every 3 days, I cannot make that work because otherwise they will not be ready to play the game. So it's not just about like play. Play is important, but if the training doesn't have the quality, I don't believe that the game itself will solve all the problems. Otherwise, we will not have coaches. We have managers who come to the game and manage the players, and that's it.
Plus, if game is low quality as well, then it's just you are playing for playing. That's it.
This was my second aspect. That is, I think there is a big gap between the top teams in the league and the bottom teams in the Premier League, and I think it's not fair for both of the sides in terms of long-term development of the players, because I have not been there, like let's say Flora, Kalju, and now it's Kuressaare, but I think it's really difficult to motivate the players to overcome when a tough time they are winning 3-0. And if you have 10 or 15 games like this during the season,
you become Vaprus.
Then how you can improve the players and say, no, you need to be 100% focused, you need this and this. Because we are human beings. We can say, yeah, we can talk. Yes, we will talk as a coaches, as an organization. But does it change that the fact that it's 3-0 and the levels drop? And we know not. And I will give example. Was a couple of days ago, I read Darwin Núñez, that now is in Liverpool. He comes from Benfica to Liverpool. It's a gap, but it's not a huge gap, but it's a gap. And he mentioned that in Premier League, the tempo and the intensity of the game is much more higher than in Portugal. That every second matters and every team can win against every team. So if you are not 100% focused, that's a big problem. And that's
what Liverpool shows this year as well, yeah.
But is what he's feeling. He's not feeling that I'm not strong enough, I'm not fast enough. He just feels that the intensity, the mental intensity that the game requires is just much more higher. Now if we think about Estonian, when the gap is so big between the teams, it's difficult to have this mental intensity, if I can express myself well in English, from Portuguese terms. And I think, as I say, I don't know how could we change it, but let's say for me it will be more positive that bottom teams have more games against them and upper teams have more games against them.
So like splitting the calendar, I mean,
kind of, I don't know how it could be done, but I think it's more demanding for the player. I play, even for us, 4 games in a row, and the 4 games, 80 minutes is 0-0, and we need to make it.
Okay.
Whatever are the teams. Then who stays up and down is another question. But I think this is like what makes the players to be better and to be ready to go for another league, and they know that every game counts to win games. 90 minutes, not like 45, the game is done, and then we can relax, and now we have 2 days off, then we play against his opponent, we make some rotation, we win again, and then comes one tough game, okay, it was 0-0, then comes 3 games that the level is more easy, and we win, and it's all good.
You brought very global example, but we have our own example. Frank Liivak, who went from Levadia to Irish League, and he said like when in Estonia you have like 20% of games with high intensity. In Ireland, you have every game with high level. So,
and also from football fans, if you have to, let's say maybe for locals it's a little bit easier, but I love football. But for me, it's also a little bit difficult to get out from home with a minus 10 degrees, and we'll watch a game that I don't know if it will be 5-0, 4-0, 3-0, or 7-0.
Yeah.
So I think we as, let's say, sports industry all together should think if there is any solution that can make the league more competitive and especially more intense, not intense in terms like we run, because I think in general we are doing that, but intense in terms of 90 minutes counts, and sometimes the game is decided in the last 10 with 1-0 for one of the teams.
I think that's a good point.
Absolutely, but what more do you think Estonian FA can do to help clubs, league, even national team to move up?
I think, let's say, in general, the FA, as I understood, is providing a lot of support for the clubs with some education that some youth coordinators are getting from FA. Now we have the new fitness center, or I would like to call it more,
gym.
Football fitness center, because it's a little bit
Football
different than, if you want to call it. So this is the type of...
it's useful, yeah? You have been there, yeah?
Yeah, and this I think is really important. And I think this, in that way, who had the idea to build it, the way it was built, I think was really good.
Thomas Haberl.
It was a very good job there. And I think the message is important because I listened also to the interview that he gave, that he hoped that everyone is using, because the Estonian player needs to be more explosive. We get it. I will have, this is important, but it will not solve all the problems if the games are not competitive and if the squads are not competitive. And in that way, it comes to the other question, that is, what motivates the players at the age of 23, 24, 25 to keep engaged in football with the coaches that are demanding a lot, but sometimes what they are getting back, it's not enough to keep them engaged in the long term. And giving, for example, the example of Portugal, we have a lot of players with 26, 27, 28, 30, 31, 32 that they keep engaged in football. One is the financials, and the other is what the society gives back in terms of social status, being, like that people really cares of the players of the team, that you are in your community and everyone respects because you are a football coach or a football player. And this, I think, is what probably like Federation is trying to grow inside of Estonia, because without that we can bring the best machines, the best balls, the best shirts. It will not help. We know that in the end of the day, it's about the players. And I say to my players all the time, we coaches are here to help you, because in the end of the day, who comes to the stadium doesn't want to see the coach. Maybe in some cases, they
well, if Mourinho would be here, then they would come.
But in the end, it's about the players. So we need to take care and provide for them all the conditions to respect them. And it goes for small things that I say to my club, and I understand the culture, and I understand that there is many things that needs to be organized. But for example, we have in this winter tournament one game at 9:15 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, I
There's
know.
No way you make it in Portugal. The club, the president of the club said, I'm sorry, but 9:15 we don't play. Because we are talking about professional players. In our case, they are not fully professionals. And at 9:15, it's maybe
it was
okay.
Saturday morning as well.
Yes, and we understand there was the VAR testing. We get it. We know it's important. It's a new tool. Hopefully, will help Estonian football to be more clear and more fair to everyone. But we need to protect the players. And to protect the players is to know that before a certain time there is no games. If we need to finish the game at, 10:30 in the evening, and the clubs can discuss it's better to finish 10:30 in the evening or start at 9 o'clock, is another talk. And for our players' feedback was that was really tough, because what time you need to wake up and the routines, everything changed. And I think this is like also to show respect for the players and say, we know maybe we cannot pay big wages and give a lot of money and so on, but everything we take care. And small things sometimes makes a big impact, that the players feel appreciate and say like, I'm doing something great in my country.
I cannot agree more here. Do you have any questions, football related? Because I think it was very, very good monologue.
Yeah, absolutely. I have, what is your goal as a coach after winning the title with Harju?
Well, after winning the title with Harju. Now, let's say my personal goal in the long term, and this, I don't know how you will take, because probably you don't understand a little bit like the background like we have in Portugal. But my biggest goal as a coach is to be professional coach until my last day. So that I have the opportunity to follow the career of being professional, working with the senior teams, now in Estonia, one day in another place, until my last day. And this is a big thing right now in Portugal, because we have so many talent and good coaches that the competition for the spot is really high. So we say, if you don't take care of yourself, you're gonna be out soon. So this is a big challenge. I'm not like, and that was the same answer I gave in Portugal, I'm not like dreaming about should I be in this club, or I have the dream to play Champions League or Real Madrid or this club. That, of course, we all have. But for me, more important now is enjoy the journey, that I really have let's say, good connection with the players. Always, as we say, I will be the first one to support, but I will be also the first one to point the things out to get the things better. But to enjoy. And I say, the last game we had against Flora Under 21 last season, for me, it was one of the best moments we had in Estonia, and we were champions already. It was not about we win the title or not. It's like you are from the bench, you look inside, and you see your team doing what you have been talking for, in this case, 10 or 11 months. That you get tired of hearing yourself because you are always, let's make. And comes the last game that in the end it will not change anything, we will be in the first place. We are losing at half time.
Yeah,
we are losing 3-1, 60 something minutes. And you see an attitude from the players to run towards the ball, to try to get the ball, with this hunger to win. That's like, we will not lose today. We will finish the season with the 3 points, and we'll get the cup, and we will celebrate. And this, as a coach, there is no price for that. Of course, if you are in a big stage, you get bigger feedback.
Bigger cup.
But when you feel it, and you look for the field, and you see that from your team, I think as a coach, you are, let's say, on the top of the top, whatever it means for every coach.
I think these are very beautiful words to actually end up the interview. I think you cannot say better in the end. Victor,
sometimes it's to stop in a good moment.
Yeah, it's actually also very good. Thank you very much for coming for talking to us. It was very interesting, and I think it's a lot of people in Estonia, football people in Estonia, are happy to hear you, happy to being introduced to you. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
And from my side and from the club, thank you for the invitation. As I say to you in off, I think this type of project is what builds the culture that we are always talking, that maybe we could get better in Estonia. And I hope somehow I contribute for helping Estonian football in a positive way, finding solutions, not the problems, and hopefully in 2023 there will be happy moments for us as a club and as a team.
And for those who are listening to us for the first time, if you want to support this culture, let's say, right, you can just subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's the easiest way.
Yeah, then we can take some super box.
Thank you very much. It was Ivan, Victor, and Mario.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.